In your headlines, high priority issues discussed in Joint Ministerial Council in London, a surveillance and analysis of medicines used in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and uptick in the economy and the rising vaccination rate.
Hello Turks and Caicos, welcome to Newswatch. I'm Latoya Walker, your anchor for Thursday's newscast. The real news starts now.
At the recently held Joint Ministerial Council in London, the Premier and Deputy Premier discussed high-priority issues with members of the UK government. Details on these discussions in this report.
UK ministers, overseas territories' elected leaders and designated representatives gathered in London on November 16th and the 17th for the first in-person Joint Ministerial Council since 2018. The Turks and Caicos Islands delegation was led by the Premier, the Honourable Washington Mizik, and consisted of the Deputy Premier, the Honourable Erwin J. Saunders, along with Tracy Knight, the TCI government's representative in London. Delegates attended a total of 8 sessions over the course of the 2-day plenary on matters relating to the environment and oceans, the International Maritime Organization Code Edit, the UK and overseas territories relationship, economic resilience, security and law enforcement, as well as health and inclusivity. The UK set out its commitments to the overseas territories in the paper Global Britain in a Competitive Age, the Integrated Review of Security, Defence, Development and Foreign Policy, which articulated the collaboration with the overseas territories to address a variety of challenges including climate change, investment in physical infrastructure and marine protection. The UK and overseas territories agreed a joint communiqué which outlined and affirmed collaborative commitments to improve coordination across UK government departments and conduct regular dialogue on relevant policy issues. Noting that the COVID-19 pandemic, natural disasters, and other external elements pose a serious threat to the small and fragile economies of territories, the UK government reiterated continued partnership to strengthen health services in territories through existing and new links with the UK, as well as the exploration of methods to diversify territory economies and bolster resilience and investment. They also assured that the interests and needs of the overseas territories will be considered when creating policies and programs that will promote sustainable economic development. The UK government also shared information on the Conflict Stability and Security Fund, which supports and delivers activity, including the Justice Program and Border Security Program in the territories, to provide funding and other assistance, and to fortify and modernize law enforcement capabilities in crime fighting and border protection. They also agreed to share information and best practices and take a multi-agency strategic approach across governments to mitigate crime. It was also agreed that the UK would consider new maritime technologies that might assist overseas territories in the management of issues involving energy and waste. Meanwhile, on November 18th, the Premier and Deputy Premier held bilateral talks with Amanda Millins. She is the Minister with responsibility for the overseas territories. Those meetings were on a range of issues pertinent to the TCI. Remarking on the conclusion of the Council conference, the Premier said in their bilateral meetings with Minister Millins, all representations made by TCIG were agreeably received and working groups will be established to follow through. These include the process to escalate the delivery of the Providenciales International Airport redevelopment, the resolution of TCI's exclusive economic zone with its neighbors, the establishment of border control, maritime surveillance and policing, de-risking of certain TCI economic sectors, the introduction of biennial budgeting, and the delivery of e-governance. At a special event during the JMC, delegates and students from the overseas territories, including Mr. Keanu Bean of the TCI, had the opportunity to meet and hear from His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge. That was on the need to tackle climate change. While in London, the Premier and Deputy Premier also met with the TCI's all-party parliamentary group. This is chaired by Member of Parliament Alicia Kearns. The TCI all-party group consists of members of both the House of Commons and the House of Lords, with an interest in the islands. The group champions the islands in Parliament, raising issues of concern and holding Her Majesty's government to account when required. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Isles.
The government has conducted a surveillance and analysis of medicines used in the Turks and Caicos Islands. The results of this in this report.
The TCI's first ever certificate of analysis is now complete, following testing and analysis of medicines utilized within the country. This milestone is a result of the partnership formed with the Medicines Quality Control and Surveillance Department of the Caribbean Public Health Agency as part of their risk-based post-market surveillance program for medicines. The survey found that the medicines that were tested and analyzed met the required quality standard. A certificate of analysis is a legal document that certifies the quality of a medicine and/or its ingredients, known as excipients. The certificate demonstrates that the batch or sample tested meets all of the required quality control standards, which confirms product quality and safety. The pharmacy unit of the Health Ministry of the TCI say they view this development as a very significant step in strengthening the systems and capacities required to improve the effective monitoring of drug and patient safety. The unit adds that they are committed to ensuring the utilization of good quality, effective, and safe medicines within the TCI. The TCI's involvement in the market surveillance program will strengthen and continue to support the effectiveness of its medicines regulatory system by providing data and information that will better inform the government on the appropriate and effective regulatory actions and strategies to implement that will improve the availability of safe and essential good quality medicines. It will also identify in a timely manner possible substandard and falsified products or medicines on the TCI market. The Health Ministry states that it is essential to improve fair access to safe quality medicines and that they will continue to actively monitor and regulate all medicines used in the country. In light of this initiative, the ministry is also encouraging persons to report any adverse effects suffered from the use of medicines to the ministry's adverse drug reaction form found on the government's website. Consequently, suspected substandard and/or falsified medicines can be flagged for testing and analysis. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Isles.
It's time for a quick break. More News Watch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to Newswatch. As officials pause to speak on the uptick in the economy and rising vaccination rate, one thing is for certain, and it's that COVID-19 is still very much present and still very much deadly. Here's more.
The topic of COVID-19 seems to have begun its fading distance. However, its effects still largely linger. Mask mandates are being withdrawn and travel is becoming easier, all due to a single vial, the COVID-19 vaccine. The TCI recorded its 24th death. An individual known to be positive for COVID-19 was asymptomatic when he or she died. The individual died in Providenciales on Wednesday, who officials say was unvaccinated. He or she was also known to have multiple comorbidities. This death comes 2 months after the last, which was recorded on Friday, September 24th. As of November 24, the TCI's dashboard showed 39 active cases, where the November 1st vaccination table showed the country at 29,210 vaccinations. Persons are asked to continue to practice all safety and prevention measures. PTV extends its condolences to that family.
In this next story, we bring details out of the Special Education Roundtable discussion hosted by Education Officer for Special Needs Education across the country. Take a look.
As part of the initiatives being held during Special Education Awareness Month, Education Officer with Responsibility of Special Needs Education, Jazz Walken, hosted a roundtable discussion to bring awareness to the works and strides of special needs entities here in the TCI, as well as to provide advice to parents of children and largely caregivers of persons with special needs. Director of the Special Needs Unit under the Ministry of Health, Betty Ann Bean.
I must say, over the last 3 years, that has decreased in the fact that everyone shows up for the appointments, right? Because they know the importance of the assessments, and our parents are now coming forth and asking their children to be assessed, right? That's the ones young who are not in school, and some of them who are at school age. And then you have their private schools and the government schools with a flagging of children asking them to be assessed.
But it wasn't always this way. Director and chairman of the Hope Foundation for Autism Awareness, Maxia Rigby, is also the mother of an autistic son and speaks of her experience at a time when assessments were only possible through overseas referrals. She thinks back to the difficulty of the assessment and diagnosing process, but says it was a big stepping stone toward intervention and remediation for her son.
Also a difficult time too, because I had to take him over to Miami to the University of Miami Mailman Center to get tested, because there was no services here for him to get the diagnosis. And that took us 8 months to get an appointment. It was very stressful because we were international and we were trying to work out things obviously with our insurance and also just getting an appointment. Right, because the referral was from Dr. Leonard. She referred us to a particular doctor, and getting in with him to get an actual appointment was difficult.
Rigby says it is pleasing to see the great strides that the country has made over the last few years and urges mothers and caretakers to pay attention and to seek advice.
At the age of 2, when children start to talk and say things and interact and play more, and they start to talk about those terrible twos and all of that. It didn't quite happen like that with Israel.
The discussion was hosted by the EO of Special Needs Education, Jazz Walken. There is much more coming out of this discussion. Stay tuned for more in a newscast to follow.
A quick break, more News Watch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
The Provo Aquatics Club is back at it again. With coach Ezekiel Hall at the helm, the athletes are hoping to perform well at an upcoming swim meet in the Bahamas this weekend.
Now we have a few meets. We have 2 meets in our crosshairs right now. The first meet will be held in New Providence. It's the Barracuda Invitational, and that's in Nassau, Bahamas. And we're expecting to take older age group swimmers that are 11 and older into that meet in New Providence.
Jaden Davis is one of the athletes headed to the Bahamas this weekend. Recently, Jaden took home first at the 2021 Piranhas Turkey Classic in Pompano Beach, Florida. Here's what he had to say about his success and how it's pushing him forward.
Every time I look at the trophy, the newspaper, or even the medal, I think to myself, this is a stepping stone, or this is where it all begins. So I have to keep that same motivation, keep thinking I can get the trophy, and keep doing my best, honestly.
Yeah, Jaden is one of the newest members of the Provo Aquatic Swim Club. In the age group swimming, he's in the boys, age 11 to 12 age group. At the club, we're working on a lot of his fundamentals, some basic swimming skills in swimming, from breathing to stroke rates, to maximizing stroke efficiency. And over the few short weeks that Jaden has been with us, he's improved tremendously. And his improvement has manifested with him entering a local swim meet in South Florida a few weeks ago, where he had a tremendous performance and was able to obtain the High Point Trophy in the boys 11-12 age group.
Here's what's on the agenda for the upcoming swim meet in the Bahamas this weekend.
The events on the agenda for this upcoming meet will be a wide array of events, ranging from middle distance, 400s, mid-distance 200s, and sprint events, the 50s. So even though we're not at that stage in our training where we're concentrating on speed and in the 50s, our kids will be in the pool swimming some 50s, in addition to some mid-distance 200 events.
For your Sports Authority, I'm Lee Carvey.
Here's your weather forecast for November 26, 2021. On the island of Grand Turk on Friday, partly cloudy skies, high 81, low 76. Winds east-northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. On South Caicos, Friday, sunshine and mixed clouds, high 81, low 75. Winds east-northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. On North and Middle Caicos on Friday, partly cloudy skies, high 81, low 75. Winds east-northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For Parrot and Pine Key, on Friday, partly cloudy skies, high 81, low 75. Winds east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And on Providenciales, on Friday, partly cloudy skies, high 81, low 75. Winds east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For your sunrise and sunset, sunrise 6:09 a.m., sunset 5:06 p.m. Now for your high tides and low tides, high tide 12:05 a.m., 12:05 p.m., and for your low tides 5:44 a.m., 6:32 p.m. And for your hurricane outlook, for the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea, and the Gulf of Mexico, tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 5 days. And that's it for your weather forecast and hurricane outlook. We'll be right back for more News Watch.
Here at People's Television, we're more than just your leading news and entertainment services. We are
spreading the gospel.
We are breaking barriers.
We are preserving the culture. Each one, teach one.
We are committed to excellence.
We're creating change.
We are creating memories.
We are the future. IMPTV.
I am PTV.
I am PTV.
I am PTV.
We are PTV.
We are continuing the legacy. We are PTV.
Three outstanding initiatives in one event as Drexwell Seymour launches his first book, short film, and song over the weekend. Take a look.
This Friday, on November 19th, I launched a 3-in-1 event. I launched the book, of course, which is this, Rise Up and Take Your Position. I also launched a song which was, sung by Barbara Johnson. She and I co-wrote the song. It's called Rise Up and Take Your Position. And I also did a movie, a short film actually, about 15 minutes. It is called Rise Up and Nobody's Better Than You. Rise Up, Nobody's Better Than You. And that was produced by Mr. Benson Williams. He has a production company, and he produced a movie for me, but it's based on my story.
Seymour explains that his motivational book was written based on his personal struggles and experiences.
So the book is a motivational book. Basically, it's 12 chapters. It's basically to encourage individuals to rise up and take their position. I think too many of us are just waiting for the right time, waiting for the perfect time, or we're afraid to launch out, or we're afraid to just pursue what we were really called to do. And this book is to encourage you to rise up, no matter the color of your skin, no matter your background, no matter your financial condition, no matter your past. And it's basically saying that whatever you have, your gift is inside of you.
The author goes on to saying that colorism was the biggest challenge he faced when writing his book.
Growing up, thinking that you're nobody, thinking that you're insignificant, thinking that, because you're very dark, there are so many myths about it. And so it brought back a lot of memories. So that was a challenge in putting the book together. It brought back memories, even though sometimes you feel like you're over it. But when you start talking about it, you question yourself, am I really over this thing? And so that was the biggest challenge for me.
Seymour further informs us as to where his book can be found.
The books can be purchased on Amazon, or you could go to Panaca's bookstore. They will have copies of the books. I still have a few left. You could also contact me directly.
He ends with encouraging the masses to document their stories as he did.
I would like to use this opportunity to encourage you, to let you know that there is a position for you in this world. I know sometimes you feel that you're not important. You feel that other people are important, but you are important. Nobody is better than you. That's what the song says. If you listen to the song, it says, you are important. Nobody is better than you. And that is what I want everybody to have in their minds.
Well, that wraps it up for your November 25th newscast, and it is now time to say goodbye. I just want you to know what a deep privilege it has been to sit at the anchor chair at People's Television for the past 5 years. While I'm excited for this new challenge, leaving you is bittersweet. I thank you, our valuable viewers, for allowing me to bring you the latest updates across the Turks and Caicos Islands, keeping you informed and entertained. Farewell.